Okay, so this is kind of a follow-up video to the last one, and so when I was placing all the pieces on my board, I ran into a couple problems, and so I'll show you what happens if you don't solve them correctly. So if you look at my chessboard, I've got this grounding thing happening, and I'll just show you. So it's basically a right click and then grounding, and so what that means is that it creates an immovable object. So right now it's not grounded, so I'm going to show you what happened. Hit escape. So in my case, my king was facing the wrong direction, so I wanted to do a right click on the king itself, and then I wanted to move it. So you can see that there's all the different tools for moving it, and it should be fairly easy. So I would turn it, but the whole board would turn it. And so I was a little confused for a moment or two. But then I remembered that I've rigidly attached the chess king to the board. So what I had to do is two things. I had to go in and click on the board and ground it. So then that makes the board immovable, but then I actually had to go into my joints, and the last joint that I had on, and I turned the joints off because it looks better, but you can sort of see that when I click this on and off, the joint for the king is turned on and off. So what I can do is I can right click on there and I want to edit the joint, and from there I can turn my piece. So you might end up having to do that. You'll notice that I want to stay with 90 or 180 or 270 or 0. So that's how I solved that problem. You might end up with your horses facing a different direction. So you would have to go through and figure out which one. If you can kind of remember what order you put them in, then it'll be easier because they kind of flicker when you hover over them. You can also just start turning them off, and you can find them that way. So we did a lot of pawns, so you could kind of skip a few. So there's a castle, and there's the other castle. That's a pawn. You could do it the opposite way. You could come from the bottom. So that is my queen, and you could just keep turning them off. So that's a bishop. That's the other bishop. And so it's kind of a weird way of doing it. So there's a horse one you can sort of see over here when I click that one on and off. Oh, I missed. That's the horse one. So then you could do a right click on that one and you could edit joint. And then you could move your horse as well. So when you're putting it back, to get it facing, because it's not obvious which way it's facing, so you want to look for 0 or 90 or whatnot. So that finishes the board and finishes the assignment. So at this point you could hand it in or whatever. So you would go in to share, and then you click the link and you click the box, and then you could share by clicking that. Okay, good luck.